Gary, let's kind of go back, to the center, and we've kind of faced some all the centers out there with the past year or so have really experienced a lot of changes and things like that. What do you think? What do you think? What is, as the leader of the center, what are some of the things that you would like to see come about for the center over the next 5 years?
For the center? Absolutely. Well, I know that our online presence became obvious that we needed to explore this avenue, and it's all new for all of us. But I know that there's just so much fun we could have, and increasing our membership allows us to do more things, keep doing what we're doing, expand. I'd like to have the center see its own building. I think that's one of our, we could do more, we could offer more things, more classes. I definitely see us offering more things, educational pieces. CSL is pretty much kind of like a college where you would go take courses. And you touched on it before, I really didn't finish though. I did end up becoming a licensed practitioner through the courses that I took. And I've been able to help people since then, just like say, realize the strength that they have and the power that they have within. So I know that having a bigger center and having just a more people, and we can share what we're doing, is just going to be where we're headed in the next 5 years. That's what we're doing. Have what we call it, our bigger and better fund, right? So that's been able to help us through some of the challenging times.
Absolutely.
But thank God for Zoom and emails and all those ways that we connect. We're meant to be together. That's our nature, is to be together. But I think as a whole, we're adapting and we're doing well, and we'll get back there. We'll get back there.
Gary, why would somebody want to maybe contact a practitioner? I've heard, we've spoken a couple of times about you becoming a practitioner. What kind of value or service does a practitioner offer to the congregation and the members?
Well, through an intensive study course, being able to listen without judgment, and to be able to identify that underlying belief. So it's about counseling and offering prayer, guidance and prayer. Sorry, no counseling. Because you need to make your own decision. I could give you advice, but it's rather just guidance. Try this. You might want to use this affirmation, things like that. But it's a skill that we've learned to be able to recognize the underlying thought. It's not always at the top. So there's what do you want to do? And then you ask yourself that 5 times, and it's always different at the end, if you're honest with yourself. So you got to dig in there a little bit, but it's knowing the right questions to ask, and not being judgeful at all, just knowing that there's a perfect, whole, and complete human being in front of me. There's nothing we need to fix. There's just something we need to remember and realize. So I think versus counseling, therapy, things like that, they spend a lot of time in the past, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes you got to do that, but there's nothing in your past that dictates your tomorrow. When you start thinking right, there's nothing that you have to that's in the past. You can create a new life tomorrow, and it doesn't have to be based on anything in the past. So why spend a lot of time in the past figuring out what's wrong, and why not just declare the new truth and start thinking different?
I like that. That's powerful. Nothing in the past dictates the future.
Yeah. If you let it, it will.
True.
Okay.
True. Right.
If you landed it well, but physically and mentally, there's nothing spiritually, there's nothing that holds you back that you did. Yes. There is no God judging us. That's a human quality. That's not a God quality.
Yeah. We have this urge, this need to judge and
Well, we're
label.
taught in school, you want to get the A. You don't want to be the guy that gets the C on the test. And we're told to be, competitive and things like that. And I don't feel that's, you know, sports is competitive. That's what it is. But I don't feel life should be competitive like that. Like we don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to be, that person that's always offering the advice. And it's so much rewarding to just listen to someone. That's what we all want. We all want to be heard. And I think that's just something special that you can be heard here without judgment.
That is definitely something I learned how to do through this, is to learn to listen. And
Yeah, when I first met you, you used to talk. You'd be like an inch away from my face. Like I hear you. I hear you. And now it's just, I don't know. It's so different. It's a great change. You love it. Your smile is bigger than it ever will be. I shouldn't say will be, but it's been.
yeah,
It's just great to see you. You're always in a good mood now, and I know that wasn't always true.
no. So every once in a while,
Either covering it up real good, or you're learning something here. One or the other.
definitely a lot of learning something for sure.
Well, there's perfect balance in this world, right? So when we lean our thinking one way, you get off balance and things get a little tough.
Yeah. And for me, speaking of tough, I'll just say is that this transformation process that I went through as a result of attending the courses and really getting connected and reading the books and applying the work, it really rocked me, to say the least. It all I can say is I share this message with people, and it's like people, I think, visualize like this. I'll speak for myself. I used to always visualize like a spiritual awakening as like this glorious, beautiful, really amazing experience, and until I had one, and then I was like, oh wow, like it really rocks me to my core. And it was an intense emotional, mental, spiritual ride of my life. But what came after that, and what I was able to learn, and to learn the truth, and to experience that peace and that joy that we spoke earlier on in the segment about, priceless. It's like getting on a roller coaster ride that's just like, reminds me of the old wooden roller coaster at Riverside Park, like whip you all around, and it was so uncomfortable, and all of a sudden like, stop. Like that's what a spiritual awakening process was like for me. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, a little discombobulated, like, and you look around, you're like, wow, whiplash, kind of like settles down a little bit, and you're like, wow, you just really start to perceive how distorted.
Yeah.
I was really distorted in my way of thinking towards life for a very long time. And what I've gained from all that this center is about, you can't put it into words. You can't explain it. You can't conceptualize it. It's something that you have to pursue in faith. And I think just seeing the example of others who have what we want is what will draw you in. And I think if people just showed up and really gave themselves a chance,
Mhm.
what they'll find here, who they'll find, or what they'll find, rather, it is just mind blowing. And I'm so grateful. I'm so appreciative for, everything that you've done to be a part of this place. And you've been a part of this place for almost 9 years now. And every Sunday I've gone there, you were always there, setting up chairs, like, and I know that you drive a long ways to get there and to give back and to be as invested into the well-being of other people and to be the example, Gary. I just really want to say thank you.
It's been a pleasure. That's where I am. It's something I look forward to. It's not something. It's something I get to do. You know.
There's another. Let's use that right there. Dive in a little bit more with that. I get to do.
Yeah. When yeah, because we kind of always, well, I got to do that. I got to do that. You know, just saying that I have to do this and I get to do this, there's a different energy there. If you're an energy kind of person, it's all about energy, and everything exists within that ether, right? So just to know that it's all out there, you can get real excited and say, I can have some fun with this creating thing. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, and it's for the better, for the world that works towards everyone, which is really the mission is really amazing. The power of the prayer that I've learned. I mean, there's groups of people that have stopped wars by praying. It's amazing. I was never anyone to pray. I didn't even know what it was. And now I realize it's just a conversation I'm having with myself all day long. That's a prayer. So I'm careful of that, what I'm talking about, what I'm thinking about.
Mm.
But for so many, up to till I was 48 years old, I was always reading books trying to be somebody else. If I could just be this person or that person, and I just needed to do what they did or do what this person did. I had no idea that we're all unique individualizations of God. We all have a special gift. So it's time to, when it looks a little foggy through the window, you got to start clearing the window. It gets a lot clearer when you start wiping away some of the thoughts and things that you grew up with. There's just so much help here. I'm so grateful for everyone here, and just great to see everyone on Sunday mornings, and so it just really charges me up.
Gary, so why do you think somebody would want to come to this? Why Science of Mind?
Why not? I like to keep it simple. It is as simple. It's like I said, it's not easy, but the concepts are so simple, and when you hear them, they just make sense. Now we need help to do it, to keep in that, to get rigid, to get disciplined. But the things just make sense. It's what you want to believe. I knew that I didn't want to believe that I was being judged constantly. There was some that just didn't feel right. But I bought into that truth, and so that was my experience. I'm a science buff. I know there's effects, consequences from electrician. I know that, electricity, there's no good or bad, because we use electricity to heat our house, to cook our food, but we also use that to execute people. So, there's a good and bad. There's everything, it's all good. It's just how we look at it. And when I wake up in the morning and say, this is only good, what am I going to experience that day?
Wow. A lot of goodness. A lot of goodness.
Because I'm only looking for good. I'm not out there looking for bad, creating bad. I've done that. It's just a choice. It's a conscious choice, because my brain still wants to react, right, to the old. That's what it's trained to do.
Right.
It's been a series of training and reconditioning. Similar to go to the gym. If you want to get buff, you can't just lay on the couch and think about it.
Oh man, I was hoping so. I've been trying.
That's called a spiritual misconduct. Is basically what it is. Nah,
Oh,
it's just so much. It's good. I just love talking about this. Uh, it's life changing. It really is. I never thought it was going to happen. That's why I am so excited today, because I really didn't think it was going to happen. I was really at that settling down. Just, this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. And now I know how, no matter how good things are, it can always get better, because there's an infinite amount of good.
just a matter of whether or not you're able to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was trained, money was the focus, and so many of us are, right? So, but I found that when you focus on something that you love to do, and you understand your purpose here, your individual magnificence, the money takes care of you. So I said this to you once, and you were like, "What?" I said, "God equips the willing, doesn't will the equipped." So you can be overly equipped, but if you don't have any will, you're not going to get that. But if you have a will, and you have an idea that you want to do, God will supply all the rest. It's quite a change of thinking from when I was younger, before the center. We always call it before and after because it's so life changing. It's kind of a common thing before. Where were you before the center?
Yeah. The old you versus the new you. It's like, we should totally change our names. Like, I'm gonna call myself John from this point forward. People will be like, "Huh? What happened to that guy?" I'm like, spend some time with him. You'll get to know something happened. Oh wow. Well,
So true.